Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will meet Tuesday with President Trump at the White House. The meeting will be the third face-to-face encounter for the two leaders. President Trump visited the kingdom for his first foreign trip last May. He was accompanied by his senior advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner. In an interview for Sunday's 60 Minutes, we asked the 32-year-old Crown Prince about that visit, Kushner, and the president's plan to move the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. The White House chose Saudi Arabia for President Trump's first visit as president, and you rolled out the red carpet for him. What's your relationship like with President Trump?
President Trump is the elected U.S. president, and the Saudi-American relations are historic, going back nearly 80 years. In fact, Saudi Arabia is the oldest ally to the U.S. in the Middle East, before any other country.
One of the things that President Trump has talked about is Middle East peace. He has his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, working on that. That's part of his portfolio. I know that you've met with him. Have you discussed Middle East peace with him?
That's right. Jared is assigned this portfolio by the White House. Our duty as Saudis is to improve relations with our allies and with all representatives of these institutions.
Does President Trump's decision to move the American embassy to Jerusalem help or hurt the peace process?
We try to focus on the efforts that promote peace for all. We do not try to focus on anything that might create tension. It is my nature always to be positive. So, I try to focus on the things that will support the interests of the Palestinian people and the interests of all.
There's no doubt this has been an incredibly close relationship. Remember when President Trump went there, along with Jared Kushner, they announced a $100 billion arms deal that has yet to fully materialize. And of course, the U.S. has supported Saudi Arabia's efforts in Yemen.
And he speaks English, but he chose not to speak English in the interview with you.
Yeah, I mean, especially when talking about policy, he wants to speak in his native tongue. He does speak English, but I think he's more comfortable in Arabic, yeah.
And that visit to Saudi Arabia was about a U.S. policy that was going to be realistic about the Middle East, join with the Saudis against the Iranians, and just kind of move in a totally new direction. So Saudi Arabia is the sort of avenue through which U.S. policy is going to change.
Right, and so he's not only visiting with President Trump on Tuesday, he's going to be here for several weeks as they seek more foreign investment in Saudi Arabia, and also because there's a thought that what happens in Saudi Arabia can certainly affect the entire Middle East.
They were talking about this interview in Saudi Arabia, John. Yesterday, Norah and I were doing a shoot about women who anchor the news with John Dickerson, and a guy who was in the dining room said, "Hey, Norah, he's from Saudi Arabia. We can't wait to see your interview." So they are talking about it in both places.
We all can't wait.
Yes.
And you can see our full report with the Crown Prince Sunday night on 60 Minutes. It airs at 7, 6 Central, right here on CBS.